The future of the Champions Trophy. Well, there are so many question marks when it comes to the Champions Trophy right now, but there's one report that has come at the moment and is making all the buzz. It's been done by the Telegraph. What that report is about, I'm going to be telling you about it in just a moment. But what that does is it gives this tournament another dimension altogether. Yes, of course, the team that's circling, that all the news is circling around right now is the Indian team, because you don't know whether India will be going to Pakistan or not for the Champions Trophy. Several theories continue to do the rounds whether it will be a hybrid model or not. Pakistan still hope that India are going to be coming. That's what we heard from Mohsin Naqvi not too long back, just about a couple of days back. In fact, he said that the tournament stays in Pakistan. India need to decide, and they are assuring India of all the safety and security. Well, the BCCI has said that, listen, the decision is not going to be ours. The decision is going to be made by the Indian government. But there is one news piece that's now come about that tells us what happens if India are to make it to the final. While we don't know where India will be playing the rest of the matches, as far as the tournament schedule is concerned, Lahore was given to India so that it stays closer to the Indian borders. Also because India were to play all their matches in Lahore, the thinking behind that was that the lesser that they move around, the lesser you need to worry about their security. But as things stand, we don't know if India are going or not. But what if there is a scenario that India make it to the final? Now, the final has been scheduled to take place in the month of March in the city of Lahore. However, if India are to reach the final, does the final then take place in Lahore? That's the big question mark. This news piece now says that there is discussion happening in the background, and let me in fact just lift the lid for you and tell you what this news piece is as far as the Telegraph is concerned. This is a news piece, an exclusive report that the Telegraph has filed, which says that the Champions Trophy final could be switched from Pakistan if India qualify. Let me also read out what's written in this in the line right underneath the main header for this news piece. It says that if ban on India playing in Pakistan is not lifted, ICC will have to look at alternative arrangements for the Champions Trophy. So this is what the headline was in this particular report, but we managed to extrapolate the key points. So let's quickly dive into those key points and tell you what is it that this report tells us. This report says that the final could be shifted from Lahore to Dubai. So the other venue being looked at if India are to play in the final of the Champions Trophy, it will be Dubai. Now, it could create confusion. Now, let's try and dwell a little on this thought. It could create confusion as the venue for the final may not be known until the semi-final gets over. Why is that? Well, because you will have to wait if India are to be in the semi-final, and in all likelihood India are expected to be always a team that finish in the top 4. Now, if India are to feature in a semi-final, you will then have to wait till the result of the semi-final in which India are playing to know whether or not India will feature then in the final or not. If India don't play in the final, well, it can happen in Lahore, the final of the Champions Trophy. However, if India do go on to win, then what? And this is the situation that the PCB and the ICC are currently faced with. This is what is happening in the background. What do you do then? Then came this proposition that if India win, then if India win the semi-final, then you hold the final in Dubai. But just imagine from the broadcaster's point of view, just imagine from the host board's point of view, also from the point of view of the ICC, because they need to be managing so much when it comes to the final. So it could be a scenario that, let's say, 2 to 3 days prior to the scheduled date of the final, you don't know where the final could be happening, because that will depend on whether India make it to the final or not. So that's some news that this report had for us, but there's a couple of more things that we managed to pick out as well. Let's have a look at that now. Now, the tournament will take place in Pakistan. Again, this is something which we know already. It also does hint to the fact that you are not looking at a hybrid model as things stand. This is what the report essentially says. Right now, the tournament will be taking place in Pakistan and nowhere else. That's the discussion. However, if you ask me, for all practical purposes, it does look like it will be a hybrid competition at the end of it, because look at the other point that this report makes, that India will play at a different venue. So India are not expected to be traveling to Pakistan is the belief right now. In that case, while the tournament has not been branded as a hybrid tournament, it for all practical purposes may boil down to be one, because that's exactly what happened with the Asia Cup last year. The Asia Cup also, remember, the first 4-5 matches took place in Pakistan. They were scheduled or they were supposed to be the hosts of that particular edition of the tournament. However, India refused, and what did we see? We saw about 7 matches then being played in Sri Lanka. So it turned out to be a hybrid model. It is believed more and more as there is delay in this particular saga that it could end up going down the same road, but things are different this time. You're not just dealing with the ACC, it's the ICC that you're dealing with this time. There is bigger money involved, there are bigger rights at stake, there are bigger stakeholders, there are more stakeholders, and now what's happened between the Champions Trophy, the upcoming Champions Trophy, and the Asia Cup of last year is that India hosted the World Cup and Pakistan did come and play in the World Cup here in India. So in that way, the pressure remains on the BCCI as well. So these were some of the updates as far as the Champions Trophy is concerned. The big takeaway being, as far as this Telegraph report is concerned, that if India are to feature in the final, it will not take place in Lahore. In that case, it will take place in Dubai.